Hello, everybody, and welcome to NXT Vengeance Day. This is the February 2nd, 2025 edition of NXT Vengeance Day. This is the NXT PLE that we've been building up to. And I gotta be honest, guys, I have not done a great job of building the NXT PLE up. I definitely was one or two matches short. I did not realize that this was supposed to be a 3-hour show, and that's my bad. But I think it'll still be a good show. Maybe not as great as the Royal Rumble episode. If you didn't go watch that yet, definitely go watch that great Royal Rumble episode that I uploaded on the 22nd, I believe, of May. But yeah, this is going to be a good PLE, I believe, as well. And yeah, Shawn Michaels welcomes everyone to the show just to start off the show, get the crowd hot. Gets an 82, Shawn Michaels. And yeah, we're going to start the card with the NXT Women's Championship. Starting off hot, with the Beautiful Madness, Julia, versus the Prodigy, the champion, Roxanne Perez. And yeah, I made this a slow build match, so it's starting with some chain wrestling, some technical graps, the slow start that, the people go crazy for. Dave Meltzer is going to give this a 5-star for sure. Yeah, Roxanne eventually escapes that. She's not a big fan of that mat wrestling, and she slaps Julia. She's taunting the crowd. Just being a bit rude. Let's just say that. Roxanne gets the upper hand. She's choking Julia out with the ropes. She's targeting her neck, trying to set up for pop rocks, and she's able to hit pop rocks for 1, 2. No, Julia is able to get her foot on the ropes. And yeah, Roxanne gets up. She's trying to cheat. She's trying to grab her title to hit Julia with it, try and get herself disqualified, but the ref is able to stop her. The ref's able to grab it from her. Roxanne sets up for another Pop Rocks attempt, but Julia is able to counter it this time and transitions it into a new submission move that she hasn't used before. And Roxanne's trying to claw her way to the ropes, but Julia rolls her way back into the center, letting Roxanne tap out, meaning and new NXT Women's Champion, Julia. And that match gets a 69. I'm happy with that. Very nice. Very nice. 61 for the wrestling, 48 for the crowd. They're white hot. 66 for Julia, 57 for Roxanne Perez. It gains heat. Creative finish was a success by submission. I figured this submission was a creative finish enough. And yeah, no penalties there. Very happy. Great first match to the show. And yeah, after that, Lyra Valkyria comes out to celebrate Julia's win. She raises her arm. Roxanne's, on the ramp, agitated, yelling at Lyra, and Julia saying that this isn't over. Yeah, 59 for this segment. This is basically just in between the matches, a way for me to set up the ending of the next match. So there will be one of these in between each match. That's why I do this, just so I'm not spoiling the end of the match before I, tell everyone how the match goes. But next up, we have Gallus, Mark Coffey, and Wolfgang of Gallus versus Axiom and Nathan Frazier of Fraxium. And it's an even match for most of it. Gallus has Nathan Frazier isolated for a while, but he's able to get the hot tag off to Axiom. And Axiom flies in. He gets some good offense. He's hitting the springboard drop kicks. He's getting some super kicks. He's able to hit a running Spanish fly. He's going crazy. He's doing everything. Mark Coffey is able to rush in and break up a near fall after that Spanish fly. And all 4 men are in the ring after this. It's chaotic. Nathan Frazier is able to take Mark Coffey out to the outside of the ring. And Wolfgang tries to use this moment to hit a spine buster on Axiom. He hits that, and Wolfgang sets up. He charges, but Axiom ducks and hits a super kick to the knee of Wolfgang, and then a running knee to the face. Axiom's able to tag in Nathan Frazier, and they're double teaming Wolfgang. Frazier hits a springboard moonsault. He rolls out as Axiom flies off the top rope with golden ratio, and Axiom covers Wolfgang for 1, 2, 3. Axiom make their 7th defense of the NXT Tag Team titles. 53 for Wolfgang, 40 for Mark Coffey, 61 for Frazier, 60 for Axiom. Match gets a 61. I'm happy enough with that, even though the crowd isn't, crazy about Gallus. 61 is definitely very good. Hopefully that brings their pop up a little bit. Also, where NXT Vengeance Day was, I forget, but we're in Devlin Fieldhouse. I forget where exactly. Or maybe Louisiana. That's just where I made this. It's sold out in Louisiana, and yeah, they're going crazy for a Fraxium match. Who doesn't love a Fraxium match? And oh yeah, we got the golden ratio there. Perfect. And yeah, Mark Coffey struggled a little bit. Let's see if we got any penalties there. An awful gimmick, inconsistent. That's all right. But yeah, after that match, Chemical X comes out to the ring. They tell everyone that they don't want to sit backstage. Every other champion gets to have all the fun. They're feeling like they want to celebrate. They recently won their women's tag championships, and right now they're offering an open challenge to any two women, tag team or not. And the first two out to the ring get a title shot at their NXT Women's Tag Team Championships. And yeah, this segment gets a 37, which I'm kind of surprised about, actually. But yeah, I used an angle idea too. But okay, I guess we won't do much of that. Let me guess. Yeah, it's because I made it based on sex appeal. I forgot that I didn't change the product of NXT. That's definitely why. This segment would work in WWE, but it's not working in NXT. I've got to remember that I can't use sex appeal as a what the workers are doing in a segment. Oh well, that's fine. But yeah, right after they announced this open challenge, almost immediately Cora Jade's music hits. She was just consoling Roxanne backstage, and she's ready, and she walks out. Her music plays for a bit. We wait another 20, 30 seconds. And then Nikita Lyons comes out next, and Cora Jade rolls her eyes, but they were the first two out, so they're gonna have to team up and do this tag match together. And Cora and Tatum Paxley start the match with Cora Jade getting some offense in early. She gets a few shots off, and then reluctantly tags in Nikita. And she steps off the ring apron, just watching Nikita from ringside, not even getting involved in the tag team action. Nikita Lyons is able to get some power offense off on Tatum Paxley, though, and then eventually Tatum's able to get the hot tag to Shotzi. And Shotzi gets a few shots off before Cora Jade tags herself in selfishly. And Cora Jade is able to get the upper hand on Shotzi now until eventually Nikita Lyons, she pulls a Cora on Cora and tags herself in. She's getting some more power offense off on Nikita, or Nikita's able to get the power offense off on Shotzi. And then Shotzi gets the hot tag to Tatum Paxley, who dodges Nikita's roundhouse kick attempt, and she counters with a suplex. And Shotzi takes out Cora Jade on the outside with a dive to the barricade, making sure she can't run in and make the save, as Tatum Paxley lifts up Nikita Lyons and hits her finisher, and goes for the cover for 1, 2, 3. That was not a good match. A 33. All right. They make their first defense of the women's tag team titles. Chemical X retain. What were the penalties here? Because, all right. Inexperienced, poor psychology, same thing. And, I protected Cora Jade. Or I had Cora Jade be kept strong. 33, not a good match. Oh well. Probably would have been very high 30s or low 40s anyways. And yeah, I just needed a match. There was no storyline, even though I probably should have had them since they're all pretty well known. Like I said, I did a bad job of building up this PLE, and this match is an example of that. But the rest of the show should be good as we go back, not backstage. We go to this is just a pre-recorded segment. It's a training area with Miko Satomura and Yoshiki Inamura, and they're talking when they're interrupted by Josh Briggs. But he's not here to cause any trouble. He comes in peace. He says, I've been a brawler all my life, with bar fights and wrestling. But lately, I've just been feeling empty. I want to learn what you two have, not just how you fight, about how to fight with honor and how to carry yourself like a warrior. Miko tells him that he's just looking for a purpose. She says, "You must learn Bushido, the way of the warrior, discipline, honor, humility." Inamura whispers something to Satomura, and she responds, "We accept you, but understand." This segment is not good either. But understand, this will not be easy for you. You will fall and you will fail, but you will grow if you are able to persevere. And Josh Briggs says that he's ready, and I should not have made this not scripted or improvised. I guess this should have been scripted, but the crowd's still hot. Thankfully, it's a short enough segment. It's getting a 29. It's not very long. It's me debuting a new faction. I don't know. Yeah. After that, we have our Heritage Cup match between Uriah Connors and Lexis King. Another match that I did not plan to have in the show, but it makes sense. I think this is interesting. Round 1 starts with Lexis King showboating. He's the face, but he's still, he's a cocky face. He's wasting energy. Uriah Connors is baiting him into, running after him. He's no real offense happens in round 1. Basically, there's no falls in round 1. Round 2 has Uriah Connors. He fakes an injury. The ref's distracted. He's looking for a medic at ringside, and Uriah Connors is able to get up and low blow Lexis King while the ref has his back turned. And Uriah Connors gets the first fall. It's 1-0 Uriah after 2 rounds. Round 3 has Lexis King. He starts taking Uriah seriously. He's down 1 round. He's fighting smart now. He's able to get his finisher off and get the second fall, and it's now tied 1-1. Round 4 has Uriah Connors. He's targeting Lexis's ribs, his neck, but he's unable to get a pinfall, so a stalemate in round 4. Round 5, sees Lexis King. He's setting up for another finisher, but Uriah accidentally, I say that with air quotes, bumps into the ref. But while the ref is down, Uriah pulls out a chain and punches Lexis King in the face with the chain. And, the ref recovers after Uriah is able to hide the chain in time. And Uriah gets the third fall. It's now 2-1 Uriah Connors after 5 rounds. Lexis King needs to, get this last round or he loses the Heritage Cup. And round 6 is Lexis King fighting for his life. He gets a near fall in the first 30 seconds, but Uriah somehow kicks out. And Uriah uses the rest of the round to stall just long enough for time to run out. Your new NXT Heritage Cup champion, Uriah Connors. And this gets a 37. Lexis King is obviously mad, even though I protected him and I made it a tainted finish. And Lexis King is not going to be happy. We're going to pay him some money. And hopefully we protected him, so his pop should be saved. This likely would have been in the 40s. Obviously, I did protect Lexis King, though, so this match gets a 37. Also not very good. But the crowd is still very hot, which is all that matters. As long as the crowd's loving it. And as long as you guys like it, that's all that matters. And don't worry, I will explain this title change. I'm not just giving Uriah Connors a random, Heritage Cup run. I'll get this explained by the end of this episode, actually. So no cliffhangers. That's the word I was looking for. No cliffhangers here. But yeah, Lexis King, he's furious. He's pointing at Uriah. He's yelling at him. You're like, you didn't beat me. You stole that. You used the chain. Uriah's smirking. He's holding the cup up high. He's, the crowd's booing him. He's sucking it all in. And after that match, we go backstage to Wesley. He's walking around until he spots Tyreek Igwe and Tyson DuPont. There you are, the 2 strongest guys in the building, but you're not appreciated enough around here. They ask him if he's down to change that. And Wesley, he's like, damn right I am. I've been on my own, flying solo. But it's time to take this energy and level up. We got strength, speed, style, we got it all. Tyson asks, he's like, what are you saying, Wes? And Wes says, I'm saying we rise together. No more waiting for respect. We take it. Starting right now, we're the high rise. And yeah, I do like the background that I gave this faction. But yeah, I'm using Vengeance Day as a way to bring Josh Briggs and Yoshiki Inamura together. Obviously, they were together in real life, so I'm going to try that out. And then also, this faction just debuted in real life, so I'm putting it together a little bit earlier, giving Wesley some backup. The segment gets a 41. I'm happy enough with that. Hopefully, this faction is able to build these two up as contenders in the tag team division. But yeah, high rise. Let's see if yeah, no penalties. I'm happy enough with that. Next up, we have the NXT Women's North American Championship match between Stephanie Vaquer, La Primera, and Fallon Henley of Fatal Influence. And Stephanie Vaquer controls the match early, but Fallon Henley is able to slow things down, using JC Jane and Jasmine Nix at ringside. They're distracting the ref, which lets Fallon get the upper hand. The two spill outside, and Vaquer knocks Fallon into a barricade with a drop kick. And while JC Jane gets the ref's attention, Jasmine gets a cheap shot off on Stephanie Vaquer, which Fallon Henley immediately takes advantage of and slams Vaquer's back onto the ring apron. They get back into the ring. Vaquer's fighting from behind. She's able to hit a tornado DDT. Fallon recovers. She sets up. She goes for her finisher, but Stephanie Vaquer counters for a quick roll up for 1, 2, kick out right at 2.9, a near fall there. And there's a rough bump. Another one. Let's just say Fallon throws Stephanie Vaquer into the ref. The ref gets knocked down. JC Jane slides a chair in for Fallon Henley. And as Fallon Henley goes to swing, Vaquer just drops to the mat like she's been hit. She's pulling an Eddie Guerrero without pulling an Eddie Guerrero, like a reverse Eddie Guerrero. And the ref looks up. He sees Fallon Henley holding the chair. She's like, I didn't actually hit her though. The ref thinks Fallon Henley cheated. He's yelling at Fallon, and Vaquer springs up, hits a spinning back fist, and then goes right into her finisher, covers for the pin. 1, 2, 3. Your new NXT Women's North American Champion, La Primera, Stephanie Vaquer. And 54 for Vaquer, 34 for Henley. The creative finish is a success. And yeah, that match gets a 51, which is awesome. A lot better than I was. I was kind of worried. Fallon Henley hasn't been performing great. Vaquer is amazing though, and she will have a great reign. I have no doubts about that. The low heat hurts a little bit, but the storyline is over. We're not going to run this back, most likely. But yeah, after that, the camera cuts backstage to William Regal. He's in his office, and Uriah Connors walks in. He's holding his new Heritage Cup. Mr. Regal, this cup never belonged here. It's not a prop for flashy showmen or internet darlings like Lexus King. This cup actually means something to people. It's got heritage, discipline, real wrestling. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm sending it back to the UK, where it belongs, and where I belong. Regal, he's listening. He raises an eyebrow, but he doesn't say anything. Uriah continues. Consider this the first shot fired. NXT UK isn't dead. It's just waiting for the right man to bring it back to life. And yeah, is Uriah Connors bringing back NXT UK? I don't know. We'll have to see. But it looks like no more Heritage Cup in NXT. And yes, this is a way for me to get rid of the second mid-card championship belt for NXT in NXT. No more Heritage Cup in NXT US. But potentially in NXT UK. Too bad that company is defunct, right, guys? Segment gets a 45. William Regal was a star. Uriah Connors obviously needs a script to follow. And yeah, speaking of mid-card championships, next is the North American Championship match between Charlie Dempsey and the Don of NXT, Tony D'Angelo. And Dempsey comes out confident. He's mocking Tony's his brawler type of style. He's using fancy footwork. He's taunting. He uses that slow-paced catch wrestling that the people just can't stand in America. What was it Zack Sabre Jr. said? It's like teaching Shakespeare to a dog. I think it was something like that. I definitely butchered the quote, but Charlie Dempsey's acting like he's too good to be bothered, and Tony D'Angelo keeps his cool. He's ignoring the trash talk. He's trying to grind down Charlie Dempsey, with some power moves. Charlie Dempsey's trying to frustrate Tony D'Angelo. He's striking with some precise kicks. He's using some technical holds. He's trying to wear D'Angelo down. And Tony refuses to be rattled. He's a resilient guy. He gets a heavy slam onto the ring. The audience is cheering for him to try and get control of this match. Charlie Dempsey, he's kind of losing his patience a little bit. He goes for a flashy springboard move for once. What he misses badly, he crashes down to the ring. And Tony D'Angelo sees this. He sees his opportunity. He quickly goes into a quick pinning combo, surprising a still recovering Charlie Dempsey. For 1, 2, 3. Tony D'Angelo makes his 6th defense of the North American Championship. And unfortunately, these two don't click. It's a little awkward. That's disappointing. 52 for Charlie Dempsey, 38 for Tony D'Angelo. I gave it a creative finish, so a 48 for the match. It's decent enough. I'll take it. Could have been better. Could have been worse, though. Definitely could have been worse. I'll take it, especially with the creative finish working. I'm happy enough with that. And after that, we get an interview with the High Rise, 37. That's all right. Wesley just declares that he's going after whoever the NXT champion is, whoever wins the match, which comes up next. The main event, triple threat between Ethan Page, Obafemi, and Trick Williams. And the match starts with Ethan Page and Obafemi. They team up briefly against Trick Williams, even though Oba laid Ethan out. He's willing to forgive him. They're targeting Trick. They're combining, get some offense out. But Trick Williams is able to fight back a little bit. He's showing some heart. He's escaping some double team, some sticky situations. Ethan Page is, he's cutting Trick off. He's taunting him. Oba's just, wearing down Trick, throwing some power slams down. And the camaraderie between Ethan Page and Obafemi doesn't last long. And, they're arguing, and they want to be the one to take down Trick. They want to be the champion, so they turn on each other. And Trick Williams, he capitalizes on this, and he gets some quick counters. And, Ethan tries to hit his finisher. I forget what it's called. Is it the Twisted Smile? Something like that. He tries to hit his finisher on Trick Williams, but Obafemi breaks it up for a near fall. And Obafemi and Ethan Page, they brawl for a little bit. They're distracted by each other. Ethan Page shoves Obafemi into the corner. His head hits the turnbuckle. It's an exposed turnbuckle that Ethan Page opened up earlier in the match. So he's out in the corner of the ring. Trick Williams sees his opportunity. He quickly rolls up Ethan Page during the chaos for 1, 2, 3. Trick Williams makes his 6th defense of the NXT Championship to retain the belt and end the show. That match gets a 61. Obafemi with a 45. 57 for Ethan Page, 60 for Trick Williams. Obafemi is the flavor of the month. Trick Williams is also the flavor of the month. 34 for the wrestling, 46 for the crowd. Decent enough match to end the show. Let's see if we have any penalties. Some inexperience. Obafemi doesn't do well with a slow build. Good to know. Neither does Trick Williams. Good to know. Ethan Page clearly does well enough, though. 61. That's the show. The whole show gets a 64, which is awesome. Very happy with that. Increases our pop in 15 regions. And if you guys enjoyed, let me know. Leave a like if you did. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are enjoying the content. We will be starting the build for NXT Roadblock when it comes to the NXT episodes. And then, potentially we'll be delving into this NXT UK storyline with Uriah Connors a little bit. If you're interested in the main roster, obviously, we just did the Royal Rumble, and we will be doing the Elimination Chamber build. I think the builds for both of those shows, the Elimination Chamber and NXT Roadblock, are going to be great. I think you guys are going to love it. And I already have it planned out. I know exactly what I'm going to do. And I just gotta make the videos. I gotta do the booking, book the shows, and get there. Leave your feedback in the comments. We really appreciate it. Let me know some suggestions, what you liked, what you didn't like. And yeah, let's see. Let's address the locker room. Let's see. Where's Lexus King? We got to apologize to Lexus King. He is furious with us. Pointed out as a good example. He's a good example. He wouldn't put Uriah Connors over, but we forced him to, and he did not throw a fit. He didn't do a shoot fight, which is good. So Julia's gonna be told that she's awesome, and so is Stephanie Vaquer. Stephanie Vaquer is also told that she's awesome. We make the speech. Lexus King is pleased, thankfully. Hopefully that lessens the burden of his unhappiness of the match. Julia is pleased, and Vaquer is pleased. We are finally out of the red. We make 900,000 there with this show. Popularity goes up from 51 to 53 in America. Wow. 41 in India. And yeah, no other rises, but definitely very happy with this in the US. And do we get a media scrum? We don't. So, yeah. I didn't put the media scrum after the Royal Rumble in because the audio was all messed up. And there weren't any interesting questions. There were no spoilers. It was just basically asking questions about a lot of the ECW roster signings and what my plans are for them, and a certain title change that happened in the Royal Rumble, asking about that that I don't want to spoil if you didn't see that episode yet. So definitely go watch that before we upload the next episode, which will be Raw, February 3rd, 2025 edition. But I'll see you guys for WWE Raw in the next episode. Goodbye.